911. What's the address of the emergency?
Thank you, Teresa. We really appreciate you speaking with us. We are here with Teresa Devlin, the older sister of Kathy Beatty. Hi, Teresa. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Teresa, can you tell me what was the age difference between you and your sister, Kathy?
2 years, exactly. We both had the same birthday, 2 years apart.
Wow. Okay. And you were the older sister?
Yeah.
All right. How was it growing up? What kind of how was Kathy as she was growing up?
She was a very happy kid, very chill, easygoing. Um, yeah, she was just easy to get along with. She was, she had a lot of friends, and she was a just an inherently good person.
When you guys were growing up, did you who did you live with?
My mom. My
Okay.
parents were divorced when I was 5, and so we lived with my mom over in Aspen Hill.
Okay. Tell me about the neighborhood as you were growing up in the 70s in Aspen Hill.
Um, it's funny because that question made me feel old. It's um, like, well, how different could it be from now? But it really was different from now because we were outside most of the time. And now in the 70s, I was a teenager, so it's a little different than being a little kid. But um, you were out with people more than I think you are now. I think people are more isolated. So we, after school, would get together with friends. Um, my mom worked, so it was off at our house where everybody would get together after school, just hang out, listen to music. Kathy was included in that. Her friends would come too, and that's kind of like how we lived our earlier teenage years. As we got a little older and closer to 1975, I got a boyfriend, and he was from another school, so I was gone a lot, plus working. So we didn't really hang out as much. Her friends kind of diverged in a different set of friends, and yeah, it was just a little bit different. So I'm not 100% sure what she did after school because I wasn't there.
Mhm.
But I'm sure it was just hanging out with friends.
Yeah.
She didn't have a job yet. She was too young.
Right. In the summer of 1975, what grade had you just finished? Do you remember?
I would have been out of 11th
Okay.
going
And
into
and she
senior
was
year.
in what grade?
And she was just entering into 10th grade. So
Okay.
at that time, the junior high school went through ninth. So she would have been entering Perry High School.
Okay. All right. So the kids at it's our understanding that they would congregate at Parkland Middle School.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of the places. There was a hill up next to the parking lot that people would go to. I never did, but I think maybe Kathy's friends would hang out there.
So is
Um,
it kind of like a starting place for kids to meet up and maybe go on their separate ways throughout the day or
Honestly, I don't know.
okay.
I just think it was a place that if the kids went somewhere, they would go there. If there were people there, they'd, hang out. Maybe a couple of them would wait and more would gather. It was sort of central to the neighborhood. So, everybody lived close by um, but I don't know the ritual of it. I mean, I don't know that they did this every day after school.
Right, right. How about in the summer? How would kids get together during the summer time?
When we were a little bit younger, it was through the pool, the neighborhood pool. Um, I think, again, I was older and I was working. So I think in the summer of 75, Kathy probably just hung out with her friends all day. I don't, they probably hung out at each other's houses. I don't know about Parkland then. I just
Mhm.
know that Parkland was a place that, on some evenings, people would just go.
Right.
Oh, it wasn't like the rocks up behind Kmart, which was a destination. That was a purposeful um, hangout. This was just more people just ended up there, if
Okay.
that makes any sense.
Tell us about the rocks.
Um, it wasn't a place that I frequented. It was a dirt bike, I think, dirt bike trails up in the wooded area behind Kmart, which isn't there anymore. And along the dirt trail, there were these big boulders that they would sit around and hang out there. Um, Kathy referred to it a lot. I think that the guys that she hung around with, I believe, had dirt bikes, and they would go there a lot. Mike Perry and the Cabacchionis, and I think that they that whole group went up there, and then also probably some peripheral people that she did not hang around with, but um, probably were there as well.
Right. Okay.
Um, but that's basically all it was dirt trails that was a out of the way meeting place for them to go. They could smoke cigarettes and just hang out there.
Hmm. Did Kathy have a large friend group, would you say, at that
I
time?
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think so. She had a few really close friends, and then yeah, a pretty big peripheral group.
Okay.
Yeah, she was a much more outgoing person than I was.
Okay.
I had my friends from work and I had my boyfriend, and that was kind of it. She
Yeah.
had a big, a big group of friends, that she hung around with a lot, and some of them were very close friends.
Okay. Mm. So if you want to jump into the evening, or we have any more?
What kind of activities did Kathy like to do? I remember talking to your mom. She mentioned she loved to dance and
She did. She
yeah.
did. We were a big dancey family. She
Okay.
liked to dance. Geez, I don't know. I mean, she liked listening to music. She liked riding her bike. She liked, there's probably not anything that if somebody said, hey, you want to go skating, you want to do this, you want to do that, that she wouldn't like to do.
Okay.
Um, she liked to go to the beach, like swimming.
Did she play an
Um,
instrument? Do you remember?
she had a guitar
Okay.
that she ish, yeah. She kind of knew how to play.
Everyone probably
Yeah,
dabbled in guitar back
yes, exactly,
then.
exactly. But yeah, she did like that. She enjoyed that. She
Okay.
enjoyed singing. Really
Yeah.
liked music. We were kind of a family that really liked music, and she liked that too.
Oh, that's great. Yes, good.
So, Teresa, I want to bring you back to, I guess, the afternoon where your mom left the house, and I think you were out of the house, and Kathy was home. Can you tell us about that? Where were you that afternoon?
I was at my boyfriend's house that evening. I don't know
Okay.
where I was that afternoon, but that evening I was at my boyfriend's house. We had just the day before gotten back from a vacation. My mom and Kathy and I, we had been up in Atlantic City for a week. So we had just gotten home, might even have been that day, um, perhaps the night before. I can't remember for sure, but we had just gotten home. And so I probably went off my separate way. I honestly don't remember where I was in the afternoon. I know I was with my boyfriend that night. And my mom had a friend who had won a lottery ticket, and there was a drawing that night. And so that's where my mom went. And Kathy had gotten in trouble for something, and I'm not sure what it was. Something trivial, I'm sure, maybe coming home late or something. I don't remember, but it wasn't any big deal. And she was restricted. And so my mom left her a note saying she was going somewhere and to tell Kathy to stay in the house.
Hmm.
Um, Again, I don't know where Kathy was that mom would have had to leave her a note. That some of these details are a little fuzzy.
Hmm.
Right.
But she did leave her a note telling her to stay in the house. And and Kathy chose to ignore it.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
As
um,
teenagers tend to
and
do.
that I can't speak directly to what she did, but I heard she just went out and
Okay.
maybe went to Sue Ann Bladsheim's house, who lived down the street. I honestly don't know where she went directly.
Okay. So when your mom got home that night, were you home or did you come home after her? Do you remember?
I got home about 12:30. Um, I believe when I got home that mom was home already and asked me if I knew where Kathy was, and I didn't, and I probably not so politely just said, "Oh, she's fine. Don't worry about her. She'll be home." And I went off to my room. Mom woke me up at about 2 o'clock because she had called the police officer, and he was downstairs, and she asked me, did I know of anything, anything that they could, look toward. And I did mention the rocks because that was one of the places that she hung out. And but I went right back to sleep. Typical teenager, you never think any of these things are going to happen to you, right?
Right.
I assume mom relayed that information to the police officer. Not sure he knew what that was, but they never woke me back up to ask for more details. And then the next morning when I got up, she was still gone. So I called my boyfriend, and he came over, and we went up there ourselves to look, and we found her. But first we found her purse. It was at the place known as the Rocks, up on a little hill with the stuff all out of it. It was dumped over. When we saw that, we didn't see anything else at that time. And Lee, my boyfriend, went down to Kmart to call the police. And while he was heading down there, I saw Kathy, and I screamed for him, and he came running back. And just give me 1 minute.
It's
Take
okay.
your time. Take your time.
$50, you wouldn't think it would be so hard. So anyway, I screamed. He came up, saw Kathy, ran back down with haste now to call the police. And Kathy was laying on an incline, and her pants were off. And I saw that the pants were up at the top of the incline. So I went to get them to try to get her clothes back on her. She was unconscious but moaning, moving her one leg back and forth, which was kind of wrapped around a small tree trunk. When I say tree trunk, it was like an inch diameter. It was very small. Her left leg was wrapped around that. And so I spent my time waiting, trying to get her pants back on her, and I couldn't. I just ended up covering her up. And then the rest of it's kind of a blur. My mom came up, and then eventually the police came, and they herded us away right away. So we went to the police station, and were interviewed there. And Kathy was taken to the hospital, obviously, and never recovered. It had been raining all night, and the whole area was wet. She had, I don't remember what side of her head, but her hair was matted, and it looked a little bloody, like somebody had hit her with something, They did surgery, and she never recovered from it.
Yeah.
So she never really came to, again.
So sorry.
Yeah.
And
Didn't deserve that.
we know that. And we're still working on Kathy's
I
case,
appreciate
trying
that.
to solve it.
Yeah, I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do think likely somebody knows something. I do think that the periphery of people that hung around up there also were a little rougher than Kathy's close-knit circle. And I think something happened there, and somebody knows. That's just my opinion. I think somebody knows. And when you're a kid, you're scared, and you probably didn't want to say anything, or not the people who did it, but somebody who might know something. it's kind of understandable that they wouldn't want to risk getting themselves in trouble.
Right. Yep. We agree, and that's why we're doing this
Mhm.
podcast. So we're hoping that it does prompt somebody to come forward with any information that they might have.
Yeah.
Tell me, how did this affect your family going forward?
Well, my mom, as you can imagine, I mean, losing a child like that is, you don't get over that.
Yeah.
You know, she was 87 when she died, and she talked about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I brought up Kathy. Um, it was very hard, hard for me as well. I tended not to um, talk about it as much. I just sort of went inside myself and um, determined not to get, you know, blindsided. So it made me a little fearful, obviously, a little closed. Um, and mom also, you know, she was afraid till the day she died. You know, she was always afraid something was going to happen to her or somebody she loved, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Always hopeful that, you know, the police would find out who did it and, you know, they'd be brought to justice. But after the years go by, you sort of lose hope and um, try
Yeah,
to.
we understand. Um, we understand. And your mom, she passed away in
2020.
2020. That
Yeah.
was right around COVID time.
Yeah, it was the December after COVID started. She didn't die of COVID, but yeah, it was that year.
Is her husband, is he still alive? Oh, okay. Very good.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
yeah.
Um, is there anything else that you would like to share with us or to get out there?
I don't know that I have anything that probably hasn't already been said, but um, Kathy deserves not to be forgotten. You know, somebody knows something, and they should say something.
Right.
And she deserved better, and I don't know.
We agree. We agree. Can I ask you just a follow-up question?
Sure.
When you had suggested the Rocks as a place to hang out, is that somewhere that Kathy would go by herself to meet up with people, you think? Or do you think that if
I
she was there, that
doubt
maybe
it
it'd be
seriously.
okay?
If perhaps if she was talking to somebody on the phone and they said, "Okay, I'm headed up there now. I'll meet you there," maybe. But she didn't have her shoes, and she would not have gone all the way up there by herself without her shoes on, walking.
Okay.
Um, that I stake my life on.
Hmm.
Um, she would probably maybe have gotten in a car with somebody, although I have never known her to do that. Kathy was a really, generally speaking, a well-behaved child that didn't do things that might get her into deep trouble, and that would have gotten her into big trouble.
Hmm.
Um, so,
When you saw her purse and the contents of her purse, was there anything in the purse that was unusual or out of the ordinary?
the only thing that had struck me at the time was there was an unopened pack of cigarettes in there, which led me to think that she probably went to 7-Eleven, bought those cigarettes, and didn't even have time to open up the pack. Um, which in my mind at the time, I was wondering if the 7-Eleven had cameras, and that's just the stuff that's going through my head at the time.
Right.
I know people talked about other things that I didn't notice,
Hmm.
um, at least that I can recall now, you know. Um, the cigarettes was the only thing, and the fact that everything was just dumped out.
Yeah. Back at that time, could she have gone and purchased cigarettes by herself? Or would that have required somebody with an ID to do that?
I think she could have gotten it herself.
Okay.
Don't hold me to that, but I honestly, I don't think we ever had to have,
Yeah.
yeah, IDs. I think that was before that time, that before that happened, maybe.
Right.
All right. Anything else you can think of?
I think that's it. One thing, and I think we brought it up to you before, and maybe you remember or don't remember, but the set of keys that were found with her purse. Do you remember that at all?
I I remember of it later because I remember reading reports and stuff that
Okay.
talked about those keys. I do not remember seeing it at the time.
Okay.
I don't remember not seeing it though. You know what I mean? It didn't stand out to me.
Okay, but you'd scooped everything back in her purse just to kind of
Yeah,
put it back in
right,
order, right? So
right,
it was just
right.
mixed
Yeah,
in,
it was very hastily done.
right? Understandably, you're trying to help clean up and um, so okay. No, I think this is it. We so appreciate your time,
Oh,
and we're hoping,
I really appreciate what you guys are doing
yes,
for
we're
Kathy's case and for others as well.
yeah,
That was along 75. You didn't have DNA. You didn't have a lot of the things that you have today.
right.
So yeah, it was harder.
When you had mentioned that you guys had been at and you said you were at Atlantic City, was that correct?
Atlantic
Shore
City,
Beach?
yeah,
Were you guys at the beach?
we were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that place where you guys would often go, or was it just a one-off?
Yeah, we would go to the beach a lot, Ocean City or Atlantic City.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was a particularly really good vacation too. Kathy and I had a blast together.
Oh,
So it was a good memory.
I bet. Wow.
Yeah, it was fun. She,
Awesome.
she, we liked rides, at the amusement parks there, and one of my best memories of her is we had decided to go on this silly ride, a paratrooper or something, but we were screamed our heads off like it was the most frightening thing we'd ever been on. So we spent the whole night going on these different, little, they don't have big things at amusement parks at the beach. So they weren't very scary, but we just kind of pretended like they were. And we were being silly and screaming and laughing, and it was a good time. It was, and like I said, I think that might have been the night before
Mhm.
this all happened. Um, but she was a funny kid. She was fun. She was a good person.
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That seems like a great memory that
It
you
is.
have. Wonderful.
It
Absolutely.
is.